This year, the Common Experience theme is on the First Amendment, which is Congress shall have no laws abridging the right of free speech, the expression of religion, or the right to petition your government or to peacefully assemble. So the right of free speech, which I think is probably the most important in the Bill of Rights, and I think that's why it's the First Amendment, is what this year's Common Experience is over.
I was invited onto the committee a year ago to help with the planning, to identify the textbook, to help choose a Common Experience speaker. So I was on the committee that contributed to that. I was proud to be part of that committee, especially for an issue like the First Amendment. But I think the thing I'm most proud of is making the suggestion that the Common Experience summer reading be a graphic novel called The U.S. Constitution, a graphic adaptation. My university seminar students sort of had a mixed reaction to it. Some thought that it was just a comic book. Some admitted that they had trouble reading it, they didn't understand where they should go next with the boxes. Some were distracted by the illustrations. Some even preferred a regular textbook, what they called a boring book. So we got some really interesting response, but to me, it sort of represents the First Amendment at its greatest, and that is that information comes to us in all sorts of ways. And so if you discount it and say, well, it's just a comic book, then you're missing out on the serious story that's in there about the founding of our country and the writing of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
In general, I think the Common Experience is fairly effective in creating a campus conversation. I think it's certainly the majority of the effort is extended and expended on freshmen because they all take a class and they are sort of forced to consider the Common Experience, which, in our busy lives, sometimes you have to be forced to take a moment to consider something that's important. So we do that a lot with the freshmen. But I think by virtue of the fact that we have so many activities geared toward whatever the Common Experience is, so in this case freedom, I think there are so many activities on campus that the rest of the campus kind of gets drawn in, whether or not other members of the campus realize they're getting drawn in because it's the Common Experience, or they just are going to something because it's interesting. I think it does sort of become the conversation for the year.
Well, I haven't gotten to attend all of them, but from what I've seen, they've been pretty extensive. Soledad O'Brien, a reporter for CNN, was here, and she gave a fantastic speech about her personal and career experiences regarding free speech issues. There were a bunch of poetry readings, and then there were the AIDS quills, which I got to attend, which was both heartbreaking and inspiring. The level of caring that goes into making those quilts, and the fact that they're allowed to come here and support AIDS victims, I think is tremendous.
Yeah, there are all sorts of great things going on. There have been a number of panel discussions involving publishers of newspapers and reporters and journalists, from all across the media spectrum, TV reporters, radio reporters, newspaper reporters, and so forth. The keynote address, the keynote speech, was by the CNN anchor and correspondent Soledad O'Brien. She came in October, and I thought that went really well. She talked about her personal experiences, but also her professional experiences, and I think in a way it sort of speaks to the story of America, but then also the story of a journalist, practicing journalism, and in this form of journalism that is using videos and documentaries to tell stories. So even that is kind of neat, kind of a look toward the future as far as where journalism is going. And there have been a number of other things. I know that the philosophy department has been holding a number of discussions and debates about essential issues involving religion and speech and press and so forth. I know that the Whitliff Collection has put together different photo exhibits and things like that get into the free speech, free expression area. So it's really been neat to see how the university has embraced this theme.